Today on Before Coffee. Bank of Ireland glitch lets customers withdraw money they didn't have.
China has fallen into a psycho-political funk.
France's animal shelters reach capacity as holidaymakers dump pets at the roadside.
Man in Pennsylvania is accused of starting a parts store, a human body parts store.
French mass grave with German soldiers from World War II opened after confession of former resistance fighter.
And in more weird and wacky Wednesday, bears on the plane. Bears on the plane. I'm so tired of these MFN bears on the plane. Plus, snake in my toilet. I am so tired of snakes in my toilet. Also, frog in my salad. I am so tired of frogs in my salad. Today, on August 16th, Elvis leaves the building. 2023 edition of Before Coffee.
All right, first news story that Bank of Ireland glitch lets customers withdraw money they didn't have. That's right. If you lived in Ireland, you could have been withdrawing a bunch of money and then had to pay it back. This is from Joanna Partridge on The Guardian. Bank of Ireland has apologized for an IT glitch that meant some customers were able to withdraw money they did not have in their accounts at the cash points. The bank said it had resolved the technical issue, which had also allowed transfers beyond customer limits, and had made its online banking and mobile app services unavailable. Our teams restored these services overnight, and all services are available to customers this morning, the lender said in a statement on Wednesday. However, Bank of Ireland told customers that any money withdrawn from their accounts at cash points or transferred during the IT glitch would still be debited from their accounts. Overnight payments to accounts may appear throughout the day. We are aware that the technical issues meant some customers were able to withdraw or transfer funds above their normal limits, the bank added. It came after reports of some people being able to withdraw large sums of money, in some cases beyond the funds they expected to be available in their account. Photos and videos posted on social media overnight appeared to show queues outside cash points across Ireland on Tuesday evening. Ireland's police force, Garda Síochána, which I probably said wrong because it's Irish, said late on Tuesday it was aware of an unusual volume of activity at some ATMs across the country. Bank of Ireland said on Wednesday, "We urge any customer who may find themselves in financial difficulty due to overdrawing their account to contact us." Financial technology firm Revolt said earlier it was looking into reports that large amounts of money had been transferred into some customers' accounts from Bank of Ireland. Revolt's like an online bank card app that I actually use, though when I don't have a credit card, I use them because they have credit card, like normal credit cards. During the Bank of Ireland outage, some customers had posted on social media that they were able to transfer money into the Revolt digital banking app before withdrawing it from a cash point. So some people were trying to break the system by using a third-party app. And that's my story there about the Bank of Ireland messing up their IT department.
And as I quipped earlier, the thing to do with that money that's not yours is to run to the racetrack immediately and put it on a 50-1 and come back with 25 grand. And today in China, we have a story from Financial Times. James Kyng, yeah, I think that's the name, Kyng. Sly Soviet-style jokes are enjoying a subtle revival in Chinese social media platforms. Their art resides in being too obscure for censors to understand, yet clear enough for cynics to chuckle at their mockery, or muckle at their chockery. Some are so esoteric that their satire is confirmed only by the censor's decision to delete them, echoing that cat and mouse dynamic that distinguished dissident humor from the former Soviet Union. One joke this week, monitored by the China Digital Times, a US-based site that covers Chinese affairs, belonged in this genre. It read, While out and about at vacation, I stubbed my toe in something. On closer inspection, I saw it was a bronze lamp. It was smudged, so I picked it up and gave it a good wipe. And out popped the genie. The genie said it could grant me any wish. Is that so? I said. Well then, could you make you know who, you know what? No sooner had the words escaped my lips than the genie rushed over, clamped my mouth shut, and asked, "Are we even allowed to say that?" The author's account appears to have been shut down after the joke was deleted. Of course, by banning the joke and its author, censors merely proved the punchline, commented the China Digital Times. This is not the first time that Soviet-style jokes have become Chinese realities. Dark humor is just one of the rash of adverse indicators besetting China these days. A slowdown in economic growth is having a palpable impact on people's lives. With labor unrest spreading, youth unemployment spiraling, and families feeling poorer following a decline in the value of their homes since mid-2021. News this week that China has officially fallen into deflation, which consumer prices dropping 0.3% year on year in July, adds a particularly unwelcome ingredient to the mix. Deflation is feared because declining prices persuade people to defer purchases, cooling the consumer vigor that Beijing has been trusting to propel recovery from the pandemic. The relevance of the issue reaches far beyond the country itself. Not only is China predicted to contribute 35% of global growth this year, far more than any other country, it also acts as a locomotive for the whole Asia-Pacific region, which is forecast to hit 60% of the world's GDP expansion, according to the IMF. Chinese policymakers have been going to talk about economic stimulus with a meeting of the Politburo in July calling for stepping up counter-cyclical measures aimed partly at energizing consumer spending, but this focus misses a crucial reality. As the revival of Soviet-style jokes hints at, China's malaise is only partly economic. The deep context behind several of the impediments to growth as a strange hybrid of psychological and political factors, a sort of psychopolitical funk. It concerns Wang Ning, not his real name, who works for a technology consultancy in Beijing, helps demonstrate the way in which worries over China's political direction are crippling people's desire to spend. Even though he earns an above-average salary of 350,000 yuan a month, which is roughly $5,000 US, Wang has begun imposing spending quotas on himself, arranged by specific categories. Dining out, for instance, is limited to 1,000 a week, which is, again, 1/7 of that is $140 US, while spending on clothes and other items similarly subject to fiscal discipline. The reasons for his austerity are a mix of big-picture geopolitics and a job market insecurity. Like many big city dwellers these days, his long-held belief in a better tomorrow has been undermined by what he sees as Beijing's preoccupation with national security at the expense of generating GDP growth. I save as much as I can to prepare for black swan events like the invasion of Taiwan or the collapse in real estate markets, Wang said. Speculation of whether China might seek to attack Taiwan, which regards as its own territory, has become a fixture of the private conversations in large cities, with 2027 often cited as a likely date. The other aspect of Wang's anxiety involves his job. Many of his friends who work in the property sector, private equity funds, and investment banks have either lost their jobs or take pay cuts because of the mix of economic trends and regulatory crampdowns on these sectors. There's ample reason for Wang's psychology. Under Xi Jinping, China's leader, a concept of comprehensive national security has come to dominate almost every aspect of life. The economy, culture, society, technology, ecology, and others are officially classified as matters of national security, deemed essential to the party's state survival. Certainly, Xi knows how important the economy, but he doesn't know how to rescue it, said Zhanhua Zhang of the European Institute for Asian Studies, a think tank. In reality, he is far from a modern leader. He recommends a return to the free market reforms of Deng Xiaoping, the architect of China's economic opening up in the late 1970s. But more immediately, Beijing needs to step up the stimulus to arrest the deflationary spiral, analysts say. Without it, China's psychopolitical malaise may deepen. And of course, that's the end of the story. I would like to point out that China is doing something. They are decreasing their carbon footprint as much as possible by investing in renewables 2 years ahead of time. They're ahead of their schedule. So they are doing things for national security because, as I said before, energy security is national security.
Let's go into France's animal shelters. That's right. Not only are people starting to go on vacation, they're starting to be assholes. This is from Kim Wilshire on The Guardian. French animal rescue centers say they have reached saturation with abandoned pets this summer. More than 100,000 pets are abandoned to fend for themselves in France every year. More than half of them dumped just before or during long summer holidays, when they are often found next to routes heading for the coast or countryside. Last summer, 60,000 pets were dumped, and animal rescuers say the figure is expected to be higher this year. The Society for Protection of Animals, SPA, raised the alarm last week, appearing for funds to help saturated refugees after it accepted 12,000 animals since the beginning of the summer. Many shelters are desperately short of space and are expanding their facilities to try to save as many animals as possible. Every year, shelters redouble their efforts to cope with saturation and take in animals in peril. Today, the situation is alarming. The SPA said in a statement, "We urgently need to save, feed, and care for all victims of abandonment and abuse." Hundreds of other animal refugees by associations including 30 million Diams, 30 Million Friends, and the Brigitte Bardot Foundation have also reported a surge in abandoned pets. Animal campaigners say refuges are facing a double whammy. Inflation has hit families facing rocketing households, pet feed and veterinary bills, and has reduced the number of adoptions. A survey by pollster IFOP last November found 80% of French families had dropped plans to adopt an animal this year for financial reasons. In a global context of rising prices, pet products don't seem to be spared, and owners find themselves forced to spend more to continue providing for their pets. A report reported. Last year, the SPA, which runs 58 of the estimated 500 animal refugees in France, took in 16,457 animals between May and August. It pointed the finger at owners who had taken in pets during COVID lockdown, only to abandon them after realizing they were incompatible with their post-COVID lifestyle. Yeah, you're not there to take care of your pet if you have to go to work. This year, the figures are expected to be at least 15% higher, the SPA says. In a recent visit to Brigitte Bardot Foundation Refuge, Clement Bouon, the transport minister, urged his compatriots not to leave their animals by the country's roads. There are still thousands of abandonments in France each year, and mainly in the summer. Many people are still departing for holidays and leaving their pets by the side of the road or in a motorway service area, Bouon said. It is unacceptable. Those who abandon will be severely and heavily punished. Those who abandon, not who are abandoned. In 2022, the French government passed a law qualifying abandoning an animal as mistreatment and introducing fines up to 45,000 euros or £38,700 and a 3-year prison sentence for those convicted. That's right, you can go to 3 years in prison in France if you abandon little Toto at the street. So, don't do it. Easy solution. Don't do it. That's the end of my story. My quick story about how not to abandon your pets. Simulator.
Yeah. There's apparently a worldwide problem with people just going, "Oh, isn't that dog cute?" And a week later, it's like, "Man, he's chewing shit up. Get rid of him."
So dumb. Yeah.
Okay, so we go into the Philadelphia Inquirer. Oh, by the way, the currency for China is yuan renminbi. Believe it or not, yuan or yuan doesn't say how to pronounce
it's probably
it.
yuan. I'm pretty sure it's yuan.
yuan, yuan, right?
Yeah.
Renminbi is like a version of it, like the original, whatever. Anyway, it's our basic unit of currency. And $1. Well, I'm not finished because it's important to know what it's actually worth. $1 is worth in 7.0 258 of those. So each one of those is worth roughly 14 cents. So
Okay.
So if he's making $35,000 a month, he divide that by 7. So he's making $5,000 a month. Well, this is still pretty good money in America, anyway. It should get you a car, at least a decent car. So yeah, he's making good money, but there again, you don't feel like he's making any progress. So that's part of their malaise, and that's the last story. On to the next story. This is from the Philadelphia Inquirer, and the reporter is Sophie. Let's see what name at the top. I'm reading the pictures. Hello, Brain. Hello, Brain. It's Zoe Greenberg of the Philadelphia Inquirer, and it's entitled "Blood Money." Jeremy Lee Pauley allegedly sold stolen body parts from rural Pennsylvania, then his wife turned them in. I wonder if they found the missing handball players from yesterday.
Hope not.
Missing hand. Never mind. The missing hands. Okay. Jeremy Lee Pauley allegedly stole body parts from rural Pennsylvania. Here we go. His wife turned him in. After her husband split, Sarah Pauley descended the basement stairs alone. To the left was a washer and a dryer. To the right was her husband's workstation, a messy table he told her to avoid. For years, Sarah had done what Jeremy Pauley asked. Now he was gone, she was curious. She turned right towards the orange Home Depot buckets pushed against the wall and yanked the lid off one. The antiseptic stench of formaldehyde hit first. Peering inside, she saw what appeared to be organs preserved in some kind of liquid. In another, she recognized human skin, she said. She felt a sinking dread. Her discovery would ultimately result in federal charges against Pauley and 6 others for participating in a sprawling conspiracy to buy and sell human body parts stolen from a mortuary in Arkansas and from a Harvard Medical School morgue. Pauley, 41, did not respond to requests for comment, though court papers indicate he has agreed to plead guilty in an upcoming appearance in Williamsport. He is not in custody. The story of how something pops up on my screen. The story of how Pauley built oddities business in Enola and how authorities busted it is based on interviews with people who know him who have not spoken publicly before, as well as review of the past and current social media and dozens of pages of state and federal court documents. Pauley, who has a half-face tattoo, one eyeball tattooed black, and a 15-point metal mohawk embedded in his skull, called himself a preservation specialist, which meant in part that he collected and sold human body parts to private clients around the world. What do they want it for? He often posted on Facebook about his upcoming sales. Dominoes made from human bone fragments, a plastic tub of vertebrae, a cardboard box of budget skulls. He had a particular penchant for preserved human fetuses, Sarah said in an interview with the Inquirer, which he displayed along with other specimens in a china cabinet in their dining room. Sarah met Pauley through a former roommate in 2015 when she was 18. He was 32, so she's a real winner. They started out dating 3 years later when he proposed after 4 months, he said. As his wife, she often modeled with and posed specimens he was trying to sell. Pauley told her that he was a pretty young woman with long black hair and dramatically lined hazel eyes. She made him more approachable, she said. In the beginning, she was charmed by him. Among tattoo artists and at oddities conventions, he didn't look so out of place, and he seemed like his own man, smarter and more interesting than anyone she'd ever met. If you talked to Jeremy yourself, you'd wonder if everyone else he talked to was out of their minds, Sarah, now 27, said. But by the summer of 2022, Pauley became violent, she said. She told police he threatened to kill her and cut her into pieces if she ever left him, according to the temporary restraining order she sought against them. He told her he didn't fear prison, where he'd already done time for stabbing his girlfriend's ex in 2003. Once Pauley was served in a protection from abuse order in 2022, he had to vacate the couple's shared home. Sarah, suspecting he immediately encamped in the home of another woman, headed to the basement. Her choice launched a local and then federal investigation with ongoing repercussions. Pauley could be sentenced to up to 10 years in prison and $25,000 in fines for the most serious federal County is facing. Paulie's lawyer in the federal case, John White, says his client is being maligned because of the way he looks. The news articles in the media have made him into appear as some sort of monster or sicko. It's the quintessential statement. You can't judge a book by its cover. That guy collects body parts. Sorry. As she awaited his first court appearance this summer, Sarah remembered the early days of their romance when Jeremy showed her photos of the type of things he liked to collect. She told him he didn't know people could own human remains, that it was even legal. He said, "Oh, no, you can. It's a whole world." Yeah. It's okay. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's got a bunch of skulls in a box. Before they separated, Sarah and Jamie lived in a white 3-bedroom house in Enola across the river from Harrisburg. Jeremy Paulie would often receive packages from all over the world for his businesses. He would get ancient Egypt stuff ancient Egypt stuff, right?
Not current
if
Egypt.
You consider last year ancient. In the summer of 2021, Katrina McLean, the owner of Massachusetts oddity shop called Cat's Creepy Creations, sent a shipment of human skin to Paulie, according to the federal criminal complaint, and allegedly engaged his services to tan the skin to create leather. Prosecutors say Paulie sent a photograph of the human leather he had created back to McLean, and she agreed to send him more in lieu of payment. Then he slipped the tan human skin to Massachusetts. He slipped it. McLean had acquired the skin from cadavers stolen from Harvard Medical School morgue by an employee, Cedric Lodge, and his wife, Denise Lodge, according to the court filings. All three would ultimately be charged this summer as part of a human remains traffic network. And there's more to this story, but it's already sick enough, and it's a sick, sick world. And we don't need people vomiting first thing in the morning, do we? Really?
No, I don't think so.
We'll get to that in the next story of all the sick stuff in that one. Your story.
All right. Well, some people have interesting hobbies, and some of them are questionable.
Interesting is a kind word.
Interesting hobby. I'm just fascinated by the human body.
Yeah.
I guess that's what they would say in their defense. Where I'm just fascinated by it, and the only way you can see dead body parts is if they're embalmed in a jar. So.
You see this? You see this coat? It's genuine Persian. Oh, really? Yeah, an actual Persian.
Persian leather. Yeah.
Actual person was Persian. Anyway.
Okay. In more French news, we've got a mass grave of German World War II soldiers being opened after a resistance fighter, I guess, says, "Hey, we buried a bunch of German soldiers in a hole somewhere."
Wow.
Should probably, not all of them were Nazis. Some of them might have just been conscripted, so you might want to return them back to their families. Today, near the town of Meymac in central France, a macabre piece of history is being unearthed that has been well-kept secret since the war. There is probably a mass grave with dozens of German soldiers and French women who allegedly collaborated with the Gestapo, the Nazi Secret Service. The soldiers were killed on 12th of June 1944 in an extrajudicial mass execution by the French resistance, which followed massacres in several French towns by a German SS division in the region. So there was revenge killing. You killed a bunch of us, we're gonna kill all of you. In May this year, a 98-year-old former resistance fighter, Edmond Rivière, broke the silence about these executions in a French newspaper. As the only surviving witness, he felt it was important to make the historical truth public. The world needs to know what happened there. Rivière recalls how 47 Germans were captured in an attack by his resistance group and taken to a forest. There, the order was given for the execution because there's no place to keep the group captive. The Germans were forced to dig their own grave. The leader of the resistance group told the soldiers they would be killed and cried. Rivière recalls, some of the resistance fighters refused to shoot, including Rivière himself, but the rest of the group did not. No one wanted to kill the woman in her 20s, but after drawing lots, that also happened. After the war, the story was covered up, although it was an extra open secret among the local population. Yeah, you guys remember when they killed all those German soldiers and that woman who was basically their spy? Oh yeah! So they say it's over there in the forest, and then they tell don't stay out too late at night, the ghosts will come for you, the Nazi ghost. According to local historian, the first excavation took place in 1967, in which 11 bodies of German soldiers were found. That operation was so secret that no record had survived, including where the bodies were found. Raviel was unable to identify the spot this year because the forest has changed considerably since the 1940s, indeed. In recent months, ground radar has been used to search for the site of the mass grave, and in mid-July, the authorities announced they may have discovered the contours of a pit. The excavation will begin today. The investigators hope to find and rename the remaining bodies of soldiers and bring them to Germany, if possible to their families, the mayor of Maymach, Philippe Bergier, hopes. These German soldiers have been forgotten in this place for 80 years. Yeah, I think they've already paid their price. They're dead and forgotten for 80 years, so yeah, just let them go back. They lost the war anyway, so there's no reason to keep digging the grave, so to say, on damn Nazis. It's fine, they've been punished. They're dead. Yeah. So that's how I feel about that, I guess. That's my opinion. And,
they're the war dead. They were probably, a lot of them, draftees. Of course, they probably did a lot of shit they're not proud of.
Well, now they're dead, so who cares?
There's nothing to be proud of when you're dead.
Yep.
Not a lot of pride there.
That's the end of my story. Nice and short.
I'm waiting for my story to load here. As my computer decides sometimes, oh, the internet's too damn slow. I'm not doing anything for you until I decide. So even though I have a drop-down menu right here, there's nothing on it. It's just a blank drop. There it goes. All right, there we go. All right, from CNN. And the byline is, well, it's from Baghdad. Celine Al-Khaldi and Akil Najim of CNN. A bear being this is about a week old, so but we're just clearing up all the weird stuff. So, a bear being transported on Iraqi Airways flight from Baghdad to Dubai Friday caused delays after it escaped from a crate in a cargo hold. Iraqi Airways issued an apology after the video circulated online of a male passenger saying on the return flight to Baghdad it was delayed for over an hour due to a bear in cargo. In another video, a bear cub can be seen roaming outside of its crate on the plane while people pet and attempt to comfort it. The bear was sedated by a specialist team in Dubai and taken off the plane. Iraqi Airways said in a statement shared with CNN. The airline issued an apology Saturday saying the bear had escaped the crate upon arrival at the Dubai airport. The company apologized to the passengers of the flight from Baghdad International Airport to Dubai Airport for the reasons beyond control of the company. The delay happened because of shipment in the cargo hold. The statement added, upon arrival at Dubai Airport, the animal escaped the crate specified for its shipment, the airline said, adding that it was being transported in line with international animal welfare guidelines. The plane crew coordinated with UAE's authority who sent a specialized team to sedate the animal and take it off the plane. After checking the plane and making sure there was no damage from the incident flight, he returned to Baghdad, the statement added. The airline did not reveal while the bear was being transported to the United Arab Emirates or provide any information on its well-being after it was sedated and taken off the plane. Later Monday, the Iraqi Transport Ministry told CNN there was, in fact, 2 bears on board the flight. 2 small endangered bears that were shipped from Baghdad. When the flight was arrived in Dubai, one of the bears broke its cage, forcing health and environment authorities in Dubai to sedate it. CNN has reached out to the Iraqi government for further details on the bears. Iraq's Prime Minister Mohammed Shia Sadani directed the country's Ministry of Transport to open an investigation into the bear's escape, the Prime Minister's office said on Monday. And the bear was given an upgrade to first class and sent on its way.
Nice.
And another weird story today, from bears on a plane to snakes in the toilet. This is from AP Oddities. Tucson, Arizona. A woman finds snake in toilet. Like a scene out of a horror movie. Michelle Lesperon returned to Tucson, Arizona home to find a snake had set up camp in her toilet. I've been gone for 4 days and looking forward to using my own restroom in peace. I lifted up the lid and he or she was curled up. LeBron told the Associated Press, thank God the lid was closed. The hysterical encounter happened on July 15th, but Les Brown had been getting messages from family and even people she went to high school with, since Rattlesnake Solutions, a Phoenix-based company that removed the snake, recently posted an employee's video. The 20-second video shows the snake being pulled out of the toilet bowl and then hissing straight at the camera. Everybody has the same reaction. Oh my God, that's the worst nightmare. Other people thought it was a prank video and the snake was a prop. Even my law partner was like, haha, nice gag, Lesbron, a personal injury attorney said. Lesbron said her father tried to wrangle the snake that same night, but instead it slithered away. So he called Rattlesnake Solutions the next morning. They're like Ghostbusters. They're like, yeah, a little version of it. It took the handler, who Lesbron calls my hero, 3 tries to get the black and pink coach whip snake firmly in his grasp. He was able to wrestle the snake with one hand while capturing it with his cell phone with the other. Oh, brave man. The handler later released the snake, which measured between 3 feet and 4 feet long in a natural habitat elsewhere. Ryan Hughes, owner of Rattlesnake Solutions, said it was the first time his staff has seen a coach whip snake in a home, though it is rare to find reptiles in residence. Fortunately for Lesbron, the species is non-venomous. Still, she was taking no chances. After her reptile run-in, Lesbron has used her guest bathroom for 3 weeks, 3 weeks before feeling comfortable enough to go back in her own. Like the snakes can't find her other bathroom, right? And she no longer enters the bathroom in the dark, always lifts her lid ever so slowly, as she is having one of them Freudian episodes on a daily basis.
Oh no.
All right, Sigmund Freud once said, sometimes only a cigar is only a cigar. And sometimes only a snake is only a snake. All right, and more weird news in the weirdness of this world. More animals out of place, so to speak. Suburban Detroit woman says she found a live frog in a spinach container. This is the Monty Python skit come to life, as I didn't cover before. If you want to check Crunchy Frog skit. A woman in suburban Detroit says she got scared when she discovered a live frog in a container of spinach purchased from her grocery store. Amber Warwick, Southfield, says she bought the sealed Earthbound Farm spinach package earlier this week from a Meijer store. When she got home, her daughter found a live frog in the container and screamed. It was alive and moving, Warwick said. Thank God I didn't eat the frog. Warwick said she immediately returned the package and frog to the store. Workers there released the frog and gave her a refund. They released the frog? What do you mean released it? Where, in a store? It's natural habitat, the produce department. Jennifer Halton, a spokesperson for the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, told the Detroit Free Press that the store shouldn't have released the frog because the authorities now don't know whether it's a native to the state. Morons. She said the department referred the incident to U.S. Food and Drug Administration mayor officials that the frog was relocated to a new home outdoors. Okay, a new home outdoors. You let it go outdoors. It's not a national species. Well, in 5 years, when some catastrophic event happens in Detroit, you know what caused it? This one frog. Well, that's your story.
There's one frog.
Don't release frogs into the wild. You don't know where they're from, and they might be banned locally.
Yeah, then cane toads are the famous ones for sure.
Oh, and famously, the coquis of Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Not supposed to be brought out, but I heard one in Maryland. I heard some one night when I was working. I was like, those sound just like coquis. Somebody must have smuggled some out.
Someone smuggled some out into the wild.
So they can hear frogs that sound just like birds.
Frogs that sound just like birds.
That's what coquis are. They sound just like birds. They don't sound like frogs.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Chirping
I don't know
all
if
night,
I've heard
yeah.
one before or not.
Well, you need to play the coquis sound. I'll find it for you while you do your story. I'll play it during your story. How's that sound?
Do it during your story. What did that sound? Do you hear that?
Your story.
Okay. I guess I don't know if this is Dutch news or it's culture news of some sort. A culture somewhere. Russian correspondent. I think this might be Dutch because she sounds like she's Dutch. Russian correspondent Eva Hartog out of the country, and visa is not extended. The journalist Eva Hartog's Russian visa has not been extended. Hartog is a Russian correspondent for the Groene Amsterdammer, or the Green Amsterdammer, among others. She was given 6 days to leave the country, she writes in a column in the Weekly. In the column, Hartog describes that she had traveled to a penal colony outside Moscow to follow a trial against Russian opposition politician Alexei Navalny. 2 days later, Hartog was told by the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs that her visa will not be extended. That is the first time in 10 years, she writes. The decision was made by the competent authorities, a term often used for the security services, writes Hartog. Under international law, no reason or explanation was owed to me. Hartog has been working in Russia since 2013, first as a correspondent and later as an editor-in-chief of the Moscow Times. She also worked in Russia for media such as Vrij Nederland, The Guardian, Time Magazine, RTL News, and Politico. Hartog was one of the last Dutch journalists still active in the country. Last month, the editors-in-chief of NRC decided to bring back correspondent Eva Kukier for security reasons. NOS News brought correspondent Iris de Graaf back at the beginning of May because of the deteriorating circumstances. Geert Groot-Koerkamp is still in Russia for the NOS. So that's just a short little update that they are kicking out a bunch of people from Russia, that there's no correspondence in Russia to foreignly correspond on what's happening in Russia. We're gonna have to hear all our news out of the Russian propaganda machine, and of course, Geert Groot-Koerkamp, he's still there, so he'll tell us what's going on. But after he gets kicked out, we don't know, you know.
And when
That's a warning sign that they might be kicking people out of Russia.
Putin's probably dead, and they don't want anybody to know. It's like the parrot sketch. He's resting. He's pining for the fjords.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. This day in history.
Official Pravda line. President Putin is pining for fjords. Now, in this day in history, 963, Necrophius II Phocas was crowned emperor of the Byzantine Empire in Hagia Sophia by the Patriarch Poliarchus. Hopefully that's all the hard names I got for this section. In 1780, on this date, American force was beaten by British troops under Charles Cornwallis in the Battle of Camden during the American Revolution. In 1812, during the War of 1812, American Brigadier General William Hull, who was with his troops at Fort Detroit, surrendered to the British without a fight, leading to a celebrated court-martial in which he was sentenced to death, and he was saved by a presidential pardon. In 1819, a meeting of radicals held in St. Peter's Field in Manchester, England, was dispersed with violence, an event that became known as the Peterloo Massacre. In 1888, British archaeological scholar and military strategist T.E. Lawrence, who is best known for his legendary activities in the Middle East during World War I, which earned him the nickname Lawrence of Arabia, was born in Wales. Later died in a motorcycle accident. 1913, Menachem Begin, Prime Minister of Israel from 77 to 83, and won the 1978 Nobel Peace Prize, was born in Russia. In 1948, American baseball legend Babe Ruth died at the age of 53. 1954, the first Sports Illustrated was released, and the weekly publication became the leading sports magazine in the United States. In 1954, also, Canadian filmmaker James Cameron, who directed notably the Titanic and Avatar, was born. In 1960, the island of Cyprus became an independent republic. Happy birthday, Cyprus. Yay. And in 1977, the thing I knew happened on August 16th, when I saw it was August 16th, American singer Elvis Presley died of a heart attack brought on largely by drug abuse. On this day in 1977, Elvis left the building. In 2003, Ugandan military officer Idi Amin, known for being a barbaric cannibal and the butcher of Uganda, died in Saudi Arabia. In 2016, Brazilian businessman and sports official João Havelange, who served as president of the governing body of football, FIFA, transformed the world's largest or most powerful sports organization, died at the age of 100. So this old dude got to be 100. Good for him. 2018, American singer Aretha Franklin died at the age of 76. Aretha Franklin, Elvis, and Babe Ruth all died on August 16th. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I think it is. Babe Ruth, Aretha Franklin, and Elvis. Never forget that. And also, another tragedy, Madonna was born.
You're such a hater of Madonna, man.
Madonna turned 64 today. Happy birthday, Madonna. You were born on Elvis's death day.
Wow.
Well, although she didn't know that in
Maybe she's the spirit of
1958.
Elvis in a woman's body.
What's that?
Maybe she's Elvis reborn.
Elvis wasn't dead in 1958.
Oh.
She wasn't born in 77. Shit, she'd only be like, I'm not even 50 yet.
Oh, okay.
Nah, she's 64 today. Yeah, she's an old timer. Unfortunately, she's even older than me. And other events this day. The featured event, for some reason, is Lionel Fernandez Reina inaugurated as president of the Dominican Republic. The youngest person ever elected president of the Dominican Republic, Lionel Fernandez Reina, was sworn in his day in 1966 and soon instituted measures to end the corruption and improve the country's economy. Other birthdays today: Steve Carell, American comedian, was born in 1962. Shimon Peres, Prime Minister of Israel, was born in 1923. Wasn't Menachem Begin also born this day? We just covered Shimon Peres. Let me go back here. Did we have something Menachem Begin? He was born or he died? Yeah, he was born. So, Menachem Begin, Prime Minister of Israel, was born on this day. Also, Shimon Peres, Prime Minister of Israel, was born on this day. Isn't that weird?
Wow.
Anyway, Shimon Peres will be 100. And Charles Bukowski, American writer, was born in 1920. And that's everything, hopefully, in this day in history. And what day is it? I have no idea, but we're about to find out.
Corn Chip Day.
Corn Chip Day?
I don't know.
It's National Tell a Joke Day.
Hey,
I'll think
we've
about
been doing that our whole lives.
My best jokes are all dirty jokes. Slightly dirty. I mean, National Airborne Day is today. That's for people that like to jump out of planes, or
Sounds about
not
it.
necessarily like to jump out of planes,
Or
but
death divers.
or it's their job. If you're an airborne, that's your job. It's like, it ain't even like you're skydiving. You hook to a static line, your chute opens as soon as you get out.
Yeah.
You know, you don't take any chances. National Roller Coaster Day. It's National Roller Coaster Day, and you can be airborne if your roller coaster malfunctions.
Yeah.
And it's National Rum Day, so those are all your days. Only 4 of them. But a few of them are dangerous, and they're all funny because it's National Tell a Joke Day, so we got to work a joke in about roller coasters. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, that's been Allison here from the Netherlands. I guess I'm going to go find a roller coaster and get drunk on rum. That's the only way I'd ever get on a roller coaster is if I was just drunk, because I hate roller coasters. I like spinning rides, not up and down rides. Don't like going up and down.
I like the terror. I like the terror. I like it.
And we will see you tomorrow on Thursday for, I guess we don't have anything special for Thursday. Tragic Thursday, as we report all the tragic things
we
that's
just report the
happened.
news. We have no agenda here.
All the people who are tragically existing in the world. And on to you.
And here's Roger, United States, hoping you luck, and hopefully everybody survives these risks they're going to take and tell each other a joke, and hopefully we've done all the damage we can do today for August 16th, 2023. Hopefully it doesn't leave any scars today on Before Coffee. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.